Most sports video games fall into one of two categories. Either they're turned into a wacky, over-the-top, crack-fueled experience for all with eyes and hands to enjoy, or they're so realistic that they even include the drama of banning certain celebration moves and doing physics simulations just for the player's hair. Alright, I lied, there's actually three categories. Ever heard of arm joints? Man, I should really think of a name for this category. The Nintendo Wii is where we'll start today. It busted onto store shelves in 2006. What was its main goal? Total global submission. The Wii came with a bunch of goodies in its box. The console itself, the manual, another manual, a stand for the console, a stand for the console, a Wii remote, a nunchuck, some AA batteries, and a copy of Wii Sports in a paper sleeve. TVs around the world have never felt safe since. As a side note, f*** this stupid cardboard sleeve that they put the game in. I would bet that a quarter of all copies of this game that were ever printed are lost forever because of how badly the cardboard scratches the disc. Oh, and by the way, I moved a little too far. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to PixelPunch. Well received by critics and the Wii audience at the time, Wii Sports would go on to become the fourth best-selling video game of all time, and also the best-selling video game to exist on only a single platform, that being the Wii, of course. It feels like cheating when you package the game with the damn console, but a win is a win. It appealed to everybody with its simple and intuitive controls. You don't just sit on your couch with a controller like a loser and press A to swing the golf club. You had to actually swing the Wii remote, as if it was a golf club. It wasn't just golf though, or else the name of the game and the name of this video wouldn't make any damn sense. The game consisted of 5 sports, those being tennis, baseball, bowling, golf, and boxing. Ah yes, boxing. The only logical choice to include when the rest of the games are played by dads in their 30s. Not badminton, not fishing, not soccer, nope. The one where you beat the shit out of the other guy, that one. Don't take me too seriously, I love the original Wii Sports, but it felt a little off. You see, the Wii Remote wasn't perfect right out of the gate. It would totally read which way you swung it and where you were pointing, but that's where my list of compliments ends. You had to be realigning this thing pretty consistently, so it was clear that while Nintendo had struck gold with Wii Sports, it could be made even better if they made the controller better. Rather than admit defeat and change the controller design, all they did was a little bit of this. How I wish I could do that to make myself better too. The Wii Motion Plus perfected the Wii Remote into the best motion controller that Nintendo has ever created. I will say that straight to a Switch Joy-Con without flinching. Piece of shit. Turns out that all that was standing in the way of the Wii Remote and perfection were 2 gyroscopes and an accelerometer. But Nintendo just couldn't release the Wii Motion Plus into the wild by itself. No. They turned around and made a sequel to the greatest game of all time as the packin' Wii Sports Resort, baby! Forget about the stadiums or dark, sweaty arenas, pack your bags and take a trip to fucking paradise. Most of the sports you thought you loved from the first game are gone, replaced with 10 new ones. Not golf and bowling though, God forbid a Nintendo sports game released without golf or bowling. We'll get to that. Automatically, this game is better than the original, bigger number better. In the package of perfection, we have golf, golf with a frisbee, table tennis, bowling, basketball, archery, power cruising, canoeing, cycling, air sports, wakeboarding, and swordplay. I get the rest, but swordplay just speaks to me on a primal level. Must beat other human with stick, ooga booga. I think I speak for everybody who's played both Wii Sports and Wii Sports Resort that Resort is the better of the two. Maybe even one of those rare instances where the sequel is better than the original. In literally every way, it's not even close. Now that we've reached perfection, what other foreign lands shall we go and conquer? How about finally going HD like everyone else did 3 centuries ago? Nintendo. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, have you ever heard of a Wii U? If you responded with what or just no, then consider yourself lucky. The Wii U was supposed to be the successor to the Wii and stand alongside the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, consoles that, again, came out while my great-grandpa walked the earth. A Wii type of console without a Wii Sports game would just be too hard to imagine for Nintendo, so they went and tried to make a Wii Sports game for the Wii U. They gave up halfway through and just made the original Wii Sports better and worse at the same time. Emphasis on worse. Announced in September of 2013 and released in October of that same year, Wii Sports Club was born. I lied. You can argue that its real release date is January 2014 because that's when you could actually buy it in full in stores, or in June when all the mistake fixing was done. Following its name, Wii Sports Club tried to follow the model of a country club. You could download it for free and then you'd have to pay for each sport individually, where you could either get a day pass for 1 doubloon or a gold pass for 10 doubloons, where you'd own that specific sport forever and ever. Ah yes, take one of the best games known to mankind and fuck it up with microtransactions and free to start bullshit. What was this, 2017? No! In my opinion, it was pretty obvious that this wasn't going to work. The only sports available at launch day in October 2013 were bowling and tennis, with golf releasing in December 2013 and baseball and boxing releasing in June 2014. All sports that you could already play if you still had the original game lying around anywhere in your house. Did they even think about backwards compatibility when making this game? Jeez. It was pretty cool that the main gimmick of the game was that you were in a club with other people from your region and you'd compete to get the best ranking against all the other clubs worldwide. Online multiplayer was a neat bonus. It sold at least 379,000 copies worldwide. I'm running out of things to say at this point. Let's just skip to the part where I talk shit about this embarrassment. 2022. Remember that year? The first thing the UN did was declare that nuclear wars are bad. Big surprise. Europe got a little too warm, Russia invaded Ukraine and got condemned for it, all while Nintendo decided to release a silly little sports video game for their silly little video game console, the Nintendo Switch. But not just any silly little sports game, a silly little sports game that was bad. Nintendo Switch Sports. Well, that's what I get for mentioning the Antichrist. They say that this was supposed to be the next entry in the Wii Sports series, even though, 1, it's not on a Wii, and 2, you can't just name your series the Sports series. I think there's a law against that. I legitimately do not understand why this was part of the marketing of this game. It has a completely different art style, different player characters, different user interface. It just feels like it should have been hailed as something new, unique, and different, but instead is forced to be compared against the peak of motion-controlled sports games. It's definitely a Wii Sports for the Nintendo Switch, but that original game came out in 2006. It had a bigger and better sequel with Wii Sports Resort, a sad third entry with Wii Sports Club as per tradition, and then ended up with the fourth game being basically an attempt to remake the first game, but for newer hardware, which is already what Wii Sports Club was supposed to be anyway. It's a fine game, the sports are what they claim to be for the most part. I'm looking at youth soccer. But just the very idea that this was supposed to be Wii Sports 4 stops me from enjoying the game for what it is. Of course, this time you can't just play the original Wii Sports or Wii Sports Resort on the same console like you could with Wii Sports Club, so I somewhat understand why Switch Sports exists. For most people who own a Nintendo Switch, they either got rid of their Wii already or never had one in the first place. So Nintendo Switch Sports would serve as their introduction to the Nintendo Sports franchise. And sure, that's great, but what holds it back from greatness the most, in my opinion, is the controller. The Nintendo Switch Joy-Cons do have all the same technology as the Wii Remote Plus, but I'd say it's between what the basic Wii Remote can do and what the Wii Remote Plus can do, at least when it comes to the actual game. Having to recenter your aim is something that I almost never had to do in Wii Sports Resort after just doing it once, but here I find myself being more careful not to throw off the motion controls and actually playing the game. Though maybe that's just a me thing. If it works for you, then it works for you. But hey, all these Metacritic scores gave me an idea for the name of that third video game category.